we've already got people in the house with us, Keith. Welcome, everybody, to Lightworkers Connect. My name is Emily Harrison. I am the founder and director here at the Akashic Academy. And I am so excited to bring my new friend Keith to you guys. I don't know if you guys caught Keith's interview with my partner Nick Pereira early, or maybe it was last week. But Keith is, you can just see, he's this cool rock and roll hip guy. He's got the market cornered on what radical transformation means. And you know, if you're not already experiencing radical transformation in your life, hold on, because that's the nature of the energy on the planet right now. Yeah. With this eclipse that we experienced this summer, eclipses bring major transformation. And transformation can scare some people. Some people are looking for major transformation. They're like, I don't like my life right now. I want some major transformation. So wherever you kind of pin yourself on that scale, if you're experiencing it, if you're afraid of it, if you want to get some of that for you, Keith Anthony Blanchard is here to talk to us today about his experience in radical transformation and what that's meant for him, and how we can really embrace that process. Welcome to my show, my friend. It's nice to introduce you to all of my other friends out here. Go ahead and say hi. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and I'm going to share this out a couple places so we can get a nice big audience. Those of you guys, Amy and Candy and Renee, who are already here, please like it up, heart it up, share this out with your audiences, with your friends and family, because people are looking for radical transformation, and we are bringing it to them today. So share this out, everybody.
It's good to be with your audience. Thank you, Emily, for having me on your powerful platform. Love your background, by the way. It looks great.
Thank you.
As you're going to find out about me throughout this interview, I'm very approachable. That being said, if you would go to centeroflightradio.com, fill out that sign-up form. It's a way I can connect to you. Eventually, in time to come, I'm going to be giving away everything I've ever created. My bestseller included, The Divine Principle, and just everything I've ever created. As time goes by, you can have owned everything that I've ever created. But it's important so you go to that sign-up list so we can start that machine rolling for you. And you also have access to my ongoing newsletter.
Tell us where that is again. I'm going to flash it up on the screen so everybody can know where to find you. Center of
lightradio.com.
Center.
And something else for you listening audience and the viewing audience. As you watch Emily and I dialogue, you're going to see a fire in me that gets stoked and it gets turned up. And I begin to channel, to use the word, best word I could find at the split moment. I begin to open up. And later, before the broadcast is over, if Emily allows, I would like to open you up so you can feel what it's like to be in an expanded state of awareness.
Heck yeah, I'm going to let you do that for everybody. That's an amazing gift that you'd be bringing us through right now.
Well, it's because I only do the things I love. I play music because I absolutely love it. Been doing it since I was a child. Now I'm a professional musician. I play with world-class players. I play acoustic solo all over the city. I love creating with my spiritual. I love this moment right now with you, talking about the things that I love and create. And so I get to ride that current yet again, and it does not ever dull for me. It doesn't.
I love it.
In fact, every time I do it, I learn how to stoke that fire a little higher.
You know what? I feel so congruent to that. I feel so much synchronicity. I do the same thing. When I start talking about things that light me up, that passion gets going, and it's so contagious. And I love what you talked about opening us up in a little bit, because I find that once we've undergone a particular experience, we actually have the ability to transfer consciousness and to activate that in others. So if you are looking for getting in line with your passion today, dude, you are in the right place, because you are with two people here who get turned on and so alive by being in that mode of creating things that make us feel so alive and so passionate. Keith, tell us a little bit about give us like your background. What's your journey like? Have you always been this open to energy, and what really broke you open if you haven't always been this open?
Pain brought me to my knees. I was in a place of absolute surrender. I was so passionate and so sincere. Those two words are they are the same coin. Passion and sincerity. My life was bad. After the 10-year relationship busted up, I had nothing. I was going to be a Catholic priest when I was younger. Went to seminary school. And then the guitar came out. God went in the closet. And then through this painful breakup, God began to resurface. I got on my knees and said, I need to hear your voice. And there was so much fire and passion and sincerity in my asking. Even though I asked this prayer for 3 weeks, I'm absolutely convinced that if I only said it one time with the same passion and sincerity I had, the door was knocked on. And 3 weeks later, the golden door opened up, and I was sleeping, and I heard a voice. So wake up, there's no one in the room, dismissed it as a dream voice, went back to sleep, went back into bed with the intention of going back to sleep, and the voice said, Keith, I asked you to wake up. And it meant not only out of your night's sleep, but out of your human slumber. And I was thrown into an absolute experience, a super conscious experience. It was the light. I smelled the voice. I tasted the voice. I heard the voice. I felt the voice. It was in my hair. It was in my shirt. It was in the walls. It was everything. And what it wanted from me happened in one impression, though it took my linear mind to play it out. It gave me what I would call whole thought. We think fragmented thoughts, thoughts that follow thoughts. In this one impression was everything it wanted. It wanted me to sit on my sofa, bring a tape player, record what comes to me in a light meditation. And over a year of doing that, the voice and meditation one day said, Keith, stop with all that. You got everything you need. Now use your life, your thoughts and your feelings as the glue that will bind the divine principle, anchoring heaven and earth, and into book form. And that's what I did, because I didn't want to, for the next 7 years, just to recite a bunch of stuff like a parrot that had no heart. So I began to live the principles that were in this book to make sure they were congruent, that they were solid, and they had lots of punch, and it does.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. I love it. I love what you said too about fusing the energy of heaven and earth. I know that I go about it a little bit different way than you do, but what's really cool is that's exactly what I do in meditation for people. When I'm teaching people how to access the Akashic Records, we bring up energy from Mother Earth. We bring down the energy from the source, from the Akash. Akasha is a Sanskrit word that means ether, which is that primordial energy, right? And we're mixing that within our own being, within the vessel here that contains our soul blueprint. And when we do that, we are actually creating that fusion of heaven and earth within our own life. And that's how we get to the next level of creating this idea of the new earth, isn't it? Of this idea of being at this state of peace, love, and joy in our life where we're not constantly reaching for it.
Love it. I couldn't have said it any better. Yeah, it's about being here now, but also being here.
Yes.
Now. Jesus is on the cross. We have a plane that comes down, and we have a plane that goes across. Where do they intersect? Right here. Heaven on earth. And so he showed us by his vulnerability and his humility the disposition we need and where the Stargate is located. It's right there. It's right there. And this is not just a cliche metaphysical thing that you've heard everyone doing in an interview. I am so serious about this. When you get into this place and start monkeying around in there, to use the word, or opening it up and meandering around in there and find yourself navigating, dear Lord, what begins to happen to you is astronomical.
Yeah. There are, this is exactly also, again, what I teach my students. I say the amount of cosmic information that we can process and assimilate does not have to do with how intellectual we are. It has to do with how much we love ourselves. This is the gateway, people. The portal is through the heart space. And a really simple exercise, and then maybe you can give us a simple tip too of how we can start to be in that heart space more often. Yeah. What I find is that we've become locked up here in our mind. We process everything that's going on the planet in our mind. Once we learn to take our consciousness and move it from the head space into the heart space, and consciously doing it like using your imagination, set a timer on your phone to go off every day at noon, at 11:11, whatever time that makes sense to you. Set that timer. When that timer goes off, take a moment, gather up your consciousness in your mind, and sink it into your heart space. And as you do this over a period of time, your consciousness will learn to stay in your heart space. And when we as humanity learn to all do that as a collective, woo, drop the mic, man. Things are going to change big time, right? Yeah. Absolutely. You have some good tips for us about how, like practically, how do we learn to do that? How do we learn how to be more in that heart space?
I love what you said about shifting your awareness to your heart. And I'm going to incorporate that. I might start using it in the future. when we do the exercise. First thing I would like to offer is 3 tenets. One is the truth does not need anyone's permission to exist. So what that means, there are elements in the universe somewhere that make up the truth that we know nothing about. But what it also means is that what you believe is not true doesn't make you right either. So when we live from this non-dual perspective, we automatically find ourselves in wholeness. Because the devil on this shoulder is devilish, but we're absolutely sure the angel on this side is not the same devil in disguise. And they're both just noise. They're both just griping and bickering in your ear. So when we begin to transcend that stuff, you find yourself here. So the truth does not require anyone's permission to exist. Well, how do you know, Keith, that that is the truth? Because there's no finality. I don't have a final bone I'm going to throw you, because it's all about constant expansion, so that you have a file in your mind, a file in your heart open, so anytime something transpires, you can go directly to it. The second tenet would be get out of the fight. Get out of the fight with the world, get out of the fight with the terrorism, get out of the fight with politics, get out of the fight with racism, get out of the fight with your loved ones. Get out of the fight, because everything I've mentioned up to get out of the fight with all of it is just an internal bickering. Mm-hmm. Internal bickering. If you're watching the news, and I just watch it for entertainment. No, you're not. It's grating on your skin and it's peeling your flesh off of your soul. It's meaningless propaganda. And it does affect you and your energy and your body and your life. The third tenet is you can water the weed or you can water the plant, and whichever one you give your attention to is the one that is going to grow. Try it. Buy a weed and buy a plant. Name this one world issues or negativity or racism or whatever, and name this one Emily. And water one. Or water one more than the other, and watch the result. It's metaphysics, it's science, it's spiritual law. Those are the 3 tenets that I promise you, if you begin to put these in your consciousness and exercise them till they become default or second nature, and a part of who you are without ever having to think about it again, you are starting to set yourself nicely into the Stargate. And when that thing launches, you better be holding on tight.
Yeah, you better hang on for the ride once that happens. I love something that really struck me, what you talked about in the second tenet about becoming non-reactive is really, really an important thing. And I still work on this in my life. I would say maybe 85% of me has learned to become very non-reactive. Now, there are still people in my life who can poke and get a certain reaction out of me. But as we learn to become more even and we learn to put the bullets down, as my friend and graduate student of the Akashic Records, Brian Cable, says, put your bullets down. As we learn to pull ourselves out of that fight and not engage, that is a really, really huge step in the growth and the expansion of your consciousness. I used to feel like I was standing in my own power if I was going to stand up for myself and say something. And there's a fine line between creating those boundaries for yourself and participating in the fight. So don't fool yourself into thinking that you're doing yourself justice by engaging in the fight. Learn to disengage from that. That is really, really powerful principle. Thank you. Thank you for
even the fighting you're welcome. Even the fighting that one has with one's self. Like if you did something which was not a good choice, and the whole dynamic keeps on because I feel so bad about what I did. That's still all another aspect of fighting. You have to learn to forgive yourself from your past. You have to learn to forgive yourself in the moments that something transpires that you just chose. You have to live in this space of not being attached to the energy of fighting and negativity and grind and heavy and slam and all this stuff. It's lightening your load.
Yep, definitely. And I've learned to see those kind of experiences as my teacher. You know, if I'm in an experience where I'm holding myself really highly accountable or feeling guilty about something, as soon as I recognize that those lower frequency energies are taking over, I step aside and I say, wait a second, what has this taught me? Hey, this has given me an opportunity to practice being non-reactive with myself. High five, Emily, go get it. Go get some of that being non-reactive. And when we learn to see everything as an experience that is learning to bring about more consciousness inside of us, Then we don't get so wrapped up in, oh, I failed at that, I did bad, blah, blah, blah. You're missing the point. All of these things happen to us so that you're gonna be in a constant state of growth. So don't ever try to attain that level of perfection, or you're gonna be missing the point. You're gonna be missing that portal opening up inside of you, right? I love that you talk so much about Jesus too. I mean, Jesus was a really big part of my upbringing, Keith, because I grew up really Southern Baptist, like immersed in the Southern Baptist church. And what I do now in terms of activating intuition and bringing in healing and messages for people, there's still a big congregation of folks who feel like that is dabbling in the dangerous energies. But I always go back to, I mean, Jesus was this incredible teacher for all of us, and he was performing miracles, and he was showing love and compassion, and he was in this state of fully activated DNA, right? All 12 strands of that man's DNA were open and functioning. So I always go back to the quote in the Bible that said, Jesus said, the least amongst you can do all that I have done and more. What do you think?
That's pretty powerful.
What are your thoughts about that?
Totally. How could the superior one to us ever utter why would he ever utter such a statement that you will do the things I do, if not more? So we have to know that Jesus' word is the truth. So we're automatically thrown into a conundrum if we don't buy into the words. If there's a fighting. Mm-hmm. When people from a certain sect of religion talk about metaphysical being, you're dabbling in some pretty dark stuff, it's clear to me you do not have an understanding what metaphysical means. Metaphysics means that which is beyond the physical. So if Jesus was healing people, Jesus was performing metaphysics, because healing people came from source, which is beyond the physical. So when Jesus ascended, that's beyond the physical. It's all metaphysical. So I'm not sure that most people have a clear understanding of what metaphysical means. I think they just think it means that you're dabbling in stuff that you shouldn't be. But I think having an understanding that metaphysical means there's science, there's spiritual law, there's an abundance of energy that happens that we can't even see. That's all metaphysical. It's that which is beyond the physical body.
Heck yeah. This is a great statistic that I drop all the time, and that is, of the electromagnetic spectrum of energy, human beings can perceive with our eyes 0.003%.
Right.
That is 0.003 of 1%. So the majority of the things that are happening are beyond what we can see. And to bring this conversation around full circle, I think that's what radical transformation is that when we begin to open up our consciousness, we begin to move our consciousness and expand it through our heart space so that we can really start to process and understand all that's going on here on our planet right now. Let's get to the exercise that you talked about sharing to help us break open into that radical transformation. I'm ready for some. Bring it on, baby.
I want to say something about close out the Jesus bit.
Sure.
Jesus was a radical.
Yeah, he was.
Ask everybody who he upset, how they thought about what he was doing. They would have said, you're dabbling in the metaphysics. You need to be careful. He broke through that illusion and imparted his life and his lifestyle and the offering of his life to everyone else to follow suit. You want to be the duck, you have to learn to walk and quack like the duck. Mm-hmm. Radical transformation and opening it up to a level that you can experience a greater degree of who you really, really are. So everyone in the listening, viewing audience, use your God-given gift of awareness to take me in. Whatever I say, don't take your eyes off of me, because I'm going to divert your awareness. I'm going to shift your awareness. But keep your focus and your attention on me. And as you're looking at me, hello, by the way, hi. Become aware of the taste in your mouth. Become aware of the feeling on your skin from the air conditioner or the lack thereof in the room. Become aware of any light source that is in your house that you can see. Become aware of what is behind you, though you can't see it. You are aware of it. So what I did was I shifted your awareness from me to the taste in your mouth, to the temperature on your skin, to anything around you, any other sounds behind you, whatever thing may be behind you. And I shifted your awareness to all these different focal points. Now what I want you to do, check this out. Take that all in at the same time.
Okay.
Look at me, the taste in your mouth, the temperature in your skin, whatever's on the side of you, whatever sound is in the room, whatever's behind you, take that all in. Now, at first, you might have had just a glimpse. Keep doing it, and it begins to expand. Something about 1.5 years ago has come and sit inside of me and begin to live. And that's an expanded state of awareness. I can truly describe my level of awareness by using my hands this way. I am peripherally aware pretty much all the time until I go to monkey mind. But what I'm suggesting is I gave you a 25-pound awareness weight. You go to the gym and you want to work your muscle mass, you start with small weights and you begin to build your body by increasing the weights, and then your physical mass begins to expand. When you begin this exercise that you only had a glimpse, taste in your mouth, sounds in the room, just by being open and aware. And like Emily said, it's a simple shift. It's literally imagining and shifting your awareness into your heart, and then you practice that expansion. You're doing it right now. Try it right now for a matter of 5 seconds. Shift your consciousness from your head down to here. There it is. Now I'm open. You practice this and you practice this. If God is infinite awareness, the more aware we become, the more we can see our parent. And the more miracles begin to pop out like fireflies at night. Synchronicities, alignments, serendipities, they just begin to happen. And next thing you know, you're no longer swimming upstream, only to find out when you get there, you're going to be eaten like a bear. You're now going with the cosmic life current downstream. And you don't have to do anything to turn yourself around. The current will turn you. Down the river you go, merrily, merrily, merrily. Life is but a dream. You're out of struggle and you're into the zone.
I felt that big time.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who dabbles in these energies of increasing my awareness, and I felt a big shift in my awareness. I'd love to know what you guys out there felt with that. I have taught this before when I'm teaching inside the Akashic Academy, but we process the world generally with our 5 exterior senses, right? You know how many senses the ancient Egyptians were using to process their world? 360. And when I heard that, I was like, I can't even conceptualize of 360 senses. But when Keith takes us through that exercise, he took me through that exercise right now, I'll speak from my own personal experience. And especially when he began to say, like, tuning into the things behind me, I began to like disassociate from my physical being. And I felt that encompassing of that 360 degrees of awareness. That was big. I felt that big time. Bobby Joe Marks, she says she felt like a wave.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Dig it.
Yep, that is good stuff right there. Oh man, you guys can see how powerful this fella is. So I want to invite you, and I'm gonna put up that information again. You say it's Center of Light Radio, right?
Centeroflightradio.com. And there's a subscription form, a sign-up form you fill out. I'm going to give you tons of free stuff. I want nothing from you, really. But I would like to offer one more little exercise that I would like to give your audience.
Yeah, let's do it.
If you can think about, Scripture says, God breathed life into man. The universe inhales, so the universe exhales. Hum, so hum. So if there's something, this is what this holy man I interviewed a few days ago, who's going to air on Center of Light Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time in the video room, a God-realized man from India. This is what he told me. If God breathed life into man, and we his creation, its creation, here's what I want, Emily. I want this car. I need a new car. I want more abundance. I want a loving, peaceful relationship. Whatever that thing is you want, God created you in his image, his imagination, and his likeness, the similitude. So as you visualize and think, so you create. That's the old way of creating your life, going into meditation. It still works powerfully. Going into meditation and visualizing your creation to bring it about in your life. Swamji gave me a spiritual jewel. Here's the thing I want.
Okay.
You visualize it in your hands.
Okay.
and you blow, you breathe your creation into life.
Cool.
You breathe your breath into that which you love. God loves his children. Breathe this into creation. Breathe your creation into life. What happens is your breath becomes a carrier. Now your breath is a carrier upon which your will, your attention, and your attention rides to bring the cosmic matrix to form your masterpiece, your manifestation into your experience. Because before we were just visualizing and meditating, and that's serious, powerful energy. But now we have another component. One that's actually moving about in the world, one that's actually moving about in the universe, that's denser than the meditation energy and the visualization energy, because it's an actual physical, tangible thing you can feel. Blow on your arm, you will feel the breath. You begin to solidify it on the earth plane. Try it.
Ooh, I'm getting super excited. All right, guys, let's all take just the last few moments while we're here together to synergize, to synchronize all here together. Yeah, Stefan says that makes very powerful sense. I totally agree. I right now, and I've started to share this vision and dream that I have of traveling the country with my kids and homeschooling them as we're going and creating a documentary about this process. That's the physical manifestation of radical transformation for myself, is how do I unplug my family from this matrix and get moving out there. And so I'm just going to be open enough to share with you guys what it is that I've got in my hands here, and holding space for all of you guys too. Let's breathe in it together, okay? See it in your hands there, what it is that you want, what it is that you're creating. Awesome.
And the hands being open automatically implies I'm open to receive.
Love it. Yeah, it does. Yeah, that is awesome. My friends, you have been just an absolutely brilliant guest here. I know that they're going to want to have you back, so please stay open to coming back and talking with us and sharing more of your knowledge again. Again, guys, if you want to connect with Keith, go to centeroflightradio.com. He's got all kinds of really amazing freebies, like he said, that he's going to share with you guys. And this is the exact kind of information, kind of wisdom that we are bringing to the surface inside the Akashic Academy. So if you're interested in diving into a community of like-minded people who are interested in studying these ancient knowledges and understanding them and bringing them into being in their life, I invite you to click, join now, or whatever that button is on the top of this page, so you can learn more about what's going on inside the Akashic Academy, because we're creating a community where we're bringing together all these different healing modalities to really unify our search for God, this search for Christ consciousness, because it's meant so many different things to different people, as it's been interpreted differently across the planes of time and existence. So bringing those all together now and creating a space where we can all really dive in and learn is really, really powerful. So I invite you to find your tribe. Feel free to reach out and connect with us. Look, they're loving you. They're thanking you, enjoying it. I know, it's awesome, right? My friends are cool. And it's really, it's my pleasure to introduce you guys and connect you with more and more people who are bringing this light, beacons of light coming in on the planet. So thank you all for joining us, Keith.
Thank you.
Namaste, my brother. Thank you for coming and joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys again here on another episode of Lightworkers Connect.